Hello and welcome to the Connected Yoga Teacher live show. I'm your host, Shannon Crow. I'm a yoga teacher. I've been a yoga teacher for 10 plus years, and now I'm a consultant for yoga teachers and studios. That's been a new thing in the last couple of years. So I'm here today to talk to you about creating and growing your email list. And before we dive in, I just want to let you know what's also on the schedule because we're moving up to April. So next week we're going to talk about creating Facebook Live videos. And when I started this journey in January of 2017, I really had literally no idea what I was doing. So I'd say I have a little more insight, but things change with Facebook um, and I've learned as I've went. So I'm happy to share with you guys what I've learned so far about creating Facebook Live videos because I think it's an excellent way for yoga teachers to reach their audience. Okay, and so with that, the April show schedule is just confirmed. Those of you who are already in the Connected Yoga Teacher Facebook group will have seen a little post in there where I just said, does anyone have any feedback? And everyone was like, yay, this looks great. I'm so excited. If you're looking at joining the Facebook Live group for yoga teachers, the Connected Yoga Teacher Facebook Live group, or Facebook group, sorry, you could just go to the connectedyogateacher.com, our website, and there's a little button there to join, and there's also an email subscription. So we're going to chat lots about that today and get into that with our topic. But just to let you know, a breakdown of the live shows coming up for April. On April the 3rd, I'm going to talk about introducing yourself in a new way to yoga students. So you may have heard of an elevator speech. I just did it at the beginning of this really short clip of what I do instead of just saying, hi, I'm Shannon, I'm a yoga teacher. And we're going to get very specific on how to do that because I introduce myself differently when I'm in my yoga teacher role. So we're going to talk about that lots more on April the 3rd. April the 10th, then, I'll be on here talking about what to include on your website. So some of you may have a website already, and you can just start to look at what is helpful to have on there, or maybe you don't have a website at all and you want to start planning one out. So that's great for either group. I see some of you are popping in live. I'm just going through the April schedule for the live show. April the 17th is guided Shavasana. I have a little surprise for you guys, especially for those of you who are in the Connected Yoga Teacher Facebook group. On April the 24th is Yoga for Restless Leg Syndrome. This is a topic that I got really passionate about a while ago, and I'm excited to share that in a Facebook Live show. Okay, so we're going to dive right in today to, one more thing I want to let you know is that there's a lot of confusion or a little confusion. There's some confusion. Hi, Carissa, great to see you here today. Anyone who is joining live, it's nice if you say a little hello and tell me where you're here from. You can even post a little, if you have a website or a Facebook page, let other teachers know where you are and what you do. Okay, so there's a little confusion on the podcast versus the live show. Yay, hello Kathy, great to see you here as well. The confusion on the live show and the podcast, I just want to address that right away because it's happening for a few people. So the live show, you will see video of me, and this is the live show. It happens first on Facebook, then I take those videos, move them over to YouTube, and then I post them on our website. So all of the live show videos, along with show notes, can be seen on the connectedyogateacher.com website, and click on live shows. Then the podcast is something that happens through your podcast app or on the website. And if you go to the connectedyogateacher.com and click on podcasts, then you'll see a list of all the podcasts in the show notes. So what's confusing about it is there's one released every week. So there's a new video every week and there's also a new podcast every week. So I totally see why there's some confusion. The live show happens every Monday. The podcast is released every Saturday. And really this live show was born out of trying to get word out about the podcast, and I've grown to love it. So my plan is to continue both. Alrighty, so we're going to dive in today, and if you guys have questions as we go about building your email list, I would love to see your questions in the comment popping up. So first of all, we're just going to talk about why should we have an email list for our yoga students in the first place? Does anyone out there already have an email list? Let me know in the comments. And so the reason why to have an email list is it's a really effective way to communicate with your yoga students. There are other ways. So obviously I'm connecting with yoga teachers in this right now through a Facebook Live video. But the thing with social media, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, is that you don't own it and you don't get to say what happens next. So a lot of businesses were really reliant on building their Facebook pages, and then Facebook changed the algorithm. And you don't get a say in that. And a lot of people lost communication with different groups or pages in different ways. So we can't really trust that we'll be able to communicate with our students or our audience if we rely completely on social media, unless you've developed it. So that is why, and you might already know, I feel like everyone on the planet almost has an email address. Very few students either don't have an email address or don't use email. So there are a few, and you might want to look at other ways of communicating with them. Maybe by snail mail, maybe by phone, maybe just chatting with them in class. But everyone else in the world typically has an email address, so it's a great way to communicate. And what is the difference then of, like, say, sending an email through your Gmail or your Hotmail or whatever mail service provider you have? And what I'm going to talk about today is having an email service provider. So I'm going to talk about today having an email list through something like, I use MailChimp, but there are different ones. There's Aweber, Constant Contact, Mad Mimi, Emma. Oh, there's lots of them. So what is the difference between the two? So if you've ever sent out a big email to people, say you want to send out an email to all of your family, and so you get everyone in the little, and everyone knows everyone already, so it's okay that you've put everyone's email because they all have everyone's email. Or maybe through work you send out emails to a large group and then you blind copy them so that everybody can't see each other's email. That's really important for privacy. And you send it out to this big group of people. The thing with doing this to your yoga students is that at some point, maybe a yoga student moves away, or maybe they, for whatever reason, do not want to receive an email anymore. And so they need to be able to unsubscribe. Two things that they need to be able to do. They need to be able to sign up and they need to be able to unsubscribe. And this is now even law in Canada. So it's different in every country. But not to worry, if you use an email service provider like MailChimp, then they look after the, they have the unsubscribe for your students, and they have the way to opt in and sign up, and they're looking after those kind of monitoring the privacy laws. So you can do some research into what email service provider you would connect with. I have used MailChimp since I began, and I'm a big advocate for them, and it's not like I get a kickback or I'm not selling them. I'm not a commercial. They're free to begin. And it used to be that they were free for 1,000 people, an email list of 1,000 people, but I just checked today and it's 2,000. So that may even change by the time you're watching this if you're watching the replay. There are a few things. So Aweber would be the other one that I would look into. They do charge, but if you're wanting to use affiliate links, you're going to want to look at Aweber instead of MailChimp. That's the other reason I really like MailChimp, is they don't allow affiliate links. So if you start talking about affiliate links in your email, they will actually shut those emails down. And I appreciate this on the receiving end of email. So let's talk about really specifically, so just those of you listening from Canada, and I think the US is similar. Canada has an anti-spam law since 2014, so just check into that, especially if you are already sending out emails through Gmail, okay? So how do we go about doing this? So for those of you who have a student waiver form, it's great to have on there a little checkbox like fill in your email and then a little checkbox that says, may I email you? And if you don't have one of those, not to worry. So today, as a free gift from me to you, I'm going to send everyone an editable version of a waiver form. So you can go in, you can add your own name to it, you can edit it. And I'm also going to send you a printable one that you don't even have to edit. You could just, it's a PDF, you could either send it to Staples and get it printed off, or you can print it off at your home computer. It won't have your personal name on it, but it also doesn't have any name. You will have to fill out one part of the waiver form. But on that, it asks for the email. So if you're not already doing this with your students, it's a great way to connect with them through email. So they come to your class and you get them to fill out a waiver, which also has lots of other important information on it, but it includes their email. So say if you're already collecting those emails, but you haven't done anything with them yet, that's what we're going to talk about next, why that's so important. Does anyone out there use MailChimp or Aweber or something else? If you're watching live, you can put a little comment in the show notes. If you're watching the replay, for sure, let us know as well. If you have one, there's always new ones coming out. So I saw one the other day that said that it's like MailChimp and it's more of a Canadian company, and I'm keeping my eye on it. Okay, so for those of you who want the waiver form, here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to the Connected Yoga Teacher website, and two ways. You can either go to the show notes once I have them up, or you can go straight to the front page and sign up for the newsletter there. So you'll see the opt-in. It'll ask for your name, your email address, and then it's going to ask you what you would like to hear about in the email. So this is what we're going to talk about next. So this is an opt-in, and I'm telling you guys verbally. In this live show notes, you're going to see that you're actually going to read like, okay, if I give my email and I sign up for this, then I'm going to get this PDF printable version of a student waiver, or an editable version of the student waiver. And this is really important because this is a reason for you guys to actually stop what you're doing, go to the Connected Yoga Teacher website, sign up for the newsletter, and give me your email address. And what I do, and I really honor email boundaries. So I think it's very important. We're going to go through a few huge things to be mindful of with your email audience. So give them really good content. So I feel like I create great content every week. I create the videos, the podcasts, all of the show notes, and then I email those out to the yoga teachers on my list. So that's me creating valuable content. You might do this for your yoga students. Say you're going to give them a recipe or talk about a yoga pose. It might be a video. We're going to talk about different things that you can offer to them. But think about what is really great content that you like to look at. And we want to be giving content to people in an email. Think about it like you're going to email one of your friends. And you wouldn't email them and say, hey, buy this thing, buy this thing. You would say, hey, I found this really cool thing. And you would talk to them as a friend. You wouldn't be talking to them like a pushy salesperson. So it's important to remember that, even giving them good content, even when you're selling something. So a great example of this is I have a series coming up, Yoga for Pelvic Health, with my yoga students, and I've been collecting some videos, and I'm going to give them all of the videos and then tell them if they want to come to a weekly class. I'll give them the information and they can. So that way they have two options. They know, oh, I like to get Shannon's newsletters because I get these videos for free, and then I can decide if I want to go to her classes or not. So you want to also write to them like they are your friend, or like you're thinking of one yoga student in mind. So write to them like they're your ideal yoga student or your avatar. And this is a whole different topic for another day. Those of you who are in the Define Your Yoga Niche workshop. We're going to dive into this Thursday. If anyone's interested in doing more of that work, I do that in my consultations one-on-one, and also sometimes run workshops like the niche workshop. Um, don't trick people into your email list. So if I were to have a button on my website that said, put your email in here and then you'll win a free car, uh, that would be one trick, unless I was really going to give everyone a free car. Or another way that you would be tricking people is to not let them know that then once they put their email in there, they're going to get regular emails from you. So it's really important to have that. I have that right on the, I usually put that somewhere on there. Then you're subscribed to my newsletter. I like to make it really clear for people. And this is why it's so important to have this on the waiver form, to have an opt-in. So I like to know, some students get very upset if they came to class and they sign up for, say they're from out of town, they come to one class, they put their email on the form, not even thinking, they're just filling it out, and then they get an email from you. Hi Sherry, great to see you here. Let me know if you have any questions specific to email today. Let us know where you're tuning in from as well. I see that there's 4 of you on here, and I'm not sure if I've called out to everyone, so make sure you say a little hello in the comments. Oh yeah, this is why it's important to have it on the waiver so that they are signing up and they know that they're going to get regular emails from you. Hi Terry Martin, nice to see you here. And another rule on this is to treat people like you like to be treated. Think about this in terms of going to buy something. So if I go to a store in town and they say to me, can I have your email address? I'll be sitting there thinking, my email box is so full already. And then they'll say, if you give us our email address, you'll get $10 off your purchase today. I'm like, okay, great. But I know that I can unsubscribe because those are reputable companies. And I can unsubscribe and I'm not hurting anyone's feelings. And I've gotten or I might then look at their email and it's so good that I want to keep being subscribed to it. So think of how you can be that for your yoga students. I like to think that I like to find out what people are doing, and often my yoga students will say to me like, I got your email, like it's so great to hear that you and your family went on this trip or whatever we did, and I like to sometimes just write them like a letter, like, hey, how are you? Even though it goes out to over 600 people, I really like to try and think of one person and make it personal for them. Okay, so let's go through some of the content ideas. So if you have an email list already and you're looking for some good ways to grow your list, this is a good place to start. And also, if you don't have an email list yet, but you're thinking, how can I, like, what am I going to provide as content once I do have this list? So a few things to think about. How often do you want to be emailing your yoga students? Once a week? Once a month? What feels comfortable for you? And what fits into your schedule? So you want to provide good content. You want to create the content and have time to put it together into an email. The great thing about email providers like MailChimp or Aweber is that you can make a template and then plug things in to it. So you can save your email from before and you can make it pretty short and simple. People are busy and they like to have a fairly quick read. So think about these. You could, if you already write a weekly article or weekly blog, you can include that. That could be your email content. So sometimes I do that. Sometimes I put the entire blog in the email and sometimes I put partial and then they need to go back to the website. So that drives traffic back to the website. Some people get annoyed with that. They just want to read their email and then be able to read the whole article. So I don't do one or the other all the time. That would be your choice. You might have a new class or a schedule or announcement. This is the biggest reason why I email my students. Say if a class gets canceled, I have that list ready to go and to email them really quickly, or say if there's a new class that opens up, or my schedule, it's the new spring schedule that comes out. And so I know that all of my students tomorrow morning, I can schedule an email so that they get it tomorrow morning. That's the other great thing about MailChimp or an email service provider, is that you can schedule the email. So you don't have to be up at 6:30 in the morning, but you can send the email out then. Uh, Weekly newsletter is another one. So if you're doing a weekly newsletter, it's nice to not have it be your blog, but instead it would be something totally unique to the weekly newsletter. So that might be your choice as well. So you might have stuff on your website, or it might sound like this coming from a yoga teacher. You might say, you know, this week was a really great week for me. Teaching a class about the chakras was one of the highlights, and here's one of my favorite yoga songs and a quote that I really liked that helped me connect with my heart chakra. Just an example, so that you can keep your yoga students in the conversation even if they haven't been in class. Sherry, what is the weather like in Tampa Bay? It is sunny here in Ontario, Canada. I'd love to know, those who are tuning in live, how is the weather where you are? That would be fun. Um, let's see. Oh yeah. So you might also have an email course or an offering. So if you thought of this as a yoga teacher, you might say, you know, sign up and you'll be sent 4 motivational videos or 4 motivational emails about yoga for your heart. I'm just thinking of off the top of my head. Or here's some yoga to help you sleep. Maybe it'll even be an audio and it's just you reading an audio to them. Ah, Sherry says it's beautiful, 70 degrees and sunny. Ooh, that sounds lovely. There's still snow on the ground here and up on the Bruce Peninsula in Ontario. Let's see. So I think that email where you have something going out to them, you can schedule that all so it's ready to go. Say they join and then it's automated. Now here's something that's just today, and I'm not even really certain that I can speak to it fully, but I'm going to know by the end of today. Rosalind, nice to see you. The sun's trying to peek out here in Pennsylvania. She thinks it's going to be up to 50 today. Nice. It's also warm there. Okay, so something with, I was just asking everyone to let me know if you already use an email service provider and what one that is. I looked on MailChimp today because it used to be that they charged you to have things automated so that when someone signs up for your email or someone does something or a specific thing, then it would all be automated to send out emails to them. It's a little hard for me to explain it without showing you guys a screen. But I looked today and it almost looks like it's free. I didn't get prompted that I would need to upgrade my account. So I will be checking into that more. If you have questions about that, let me know. Or maybe you know already and you already have automated emails through MailChimp. The other thing you can do is a giveaway. So I did a giveaway thanks to Erin Aquin, who we heard from in episode 1 of the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast. She gave away a free book, and Donna won that book, and I still have to get it in the mail to you, Donna. And that was, you know, I think there were about 17 people that signed up within the span of a week, and I'm not sure if they all wanted the book, but it's a good way to get people on the email list, and it's important then to let them know, now you're receiving the email and this is why. But if you think of a giveaway for your yoga students, what's a problem that your yoga students have? What are they coming to you after class and saying, I have this, or before class? And maybe you can put something together. Rosalind says that she uses MailChimp automation and she uses it for free. So this is something I just learned today. It used to be that they charged you for it, and I haven't looked into it for a while. So this is good to know, Rosalind. If you want to type more of how you use it and what you love about it, I would love to hear it in the comments. So let's think about some things that you can give away or things that you can have as an opt-in. So video is one great one, especially for yoga students, so they can see how to do poses and you're guiding them through it. It could just be short clips as well. Audio, So you can be, if students know you really well and they know your cues, or if you're doing a guided relaxation, or if they know the poses really well, you could do an audio. Maybe you're reading some of your favorite quotes or talking about something. Yoga teachers who have podcasts or are thinking about doing podcasts, this might be something as well. Photos, so that might go along with yoga poses. A PDF, like say a document of some kind that helps students in some way. Some people use like a study, and I don't know that yoga teachers have their hands on a study to say, like I'm thinking of big companies that do a big study. So say you do an email survey. So if I thought of this as a yoga teacher, say I emailed all of my people and said, fill out this quick survey of like, what's your least favorite pose? What's your favorite pose? But I don't know that other yoga students want it. So you'd have to have a survey that people really want to get their hands on. Most often this is like social media marketing world does one, and they put out a mass email to people who fill out a survey and say what their social media habits are or preferences, and then you can sign up for their email and get the report on that. Recipe is a really great idea. I know my yoga students have loved, and I was thinking of doing a recipe soon because we make this thing in our house called banana and ice cream. It's basically bananas, soy milk, and cacao, and it tastes like chocolate ice cream, chocolate banana ice cream. So I think my students will love that. It's healthy. Rosalind says, I use MailChimp automation to automatically send a welcome email when students sign up to my list. I also automate a 30-day online program called the Practice Project to help students develop a home practice. It works great. Okay, this is good. Rosalind, thank you so much for that. That lets us know that you could be automating an email. So say people sign up just for some program on your website, and then they'll be getting these regular emails, and you're building up a relationship with them. Thanks, Rosalind. Hey, Rosalind, in that is there video with that 30-day online program? I think I asked you that in your podcast, which Rosalind's podcast episode comes out in on April the 1st. And it's all about teaching online yoga classes. Okay, so another thing you could give away is an ebook, an article. Maybe you've written it, or maybe you compile articles that you think your yoga students will like. So I get this one email. I forget who it is. I can look it up if you guys are really curious. I think it's a podcaster, and he just is like, these are the coolest things I found this week. And it's really short, and it's just an email of links. And sometimes I just curiously click on it. It's a bit like a rabbit hole because I don't know where I'm going in the internet, but I do appreciate the stuff that he kind of curates. So he gathers. And that might be, you might say, well, here are 5 articles that I've really enjoyed this week on looking after your shoulders. And you might send that out to your yoga students. Okay, another great thing is playlists. Students always are like, what is that playlist? How can I get that playlist? Yeah, and there's a whole way to put a playlist online so that people can listen to it. I'm wondering if that should be a live show. Another one is a flow. So students love to be able to do yoga, and a discount or a coupon. I know another yoga teacher, Erin Aquin, who we heard from in episode 1 of the Connected Yoga Teacher podcast, who gives the first 3 chapters of her book. And I know even if you go to her event on the Tone Yoga website, tonestudio.com, toneyogastudio.com, Maxine, sorry, I'm not sure if I'm getting that right. And you go to Erin's event, you can look at the first 3 chapters of her book. Erin, if you're listening to this, put a link in the show notes because I tried to look for it today and I couldn't find that opt-in. Okay, so those are all of the ones that I can think of, but I would love to see, yoga teachers are very creative people, and I would love to see if you guys have other ideas of things that you would use as an opt-in. And then from there, there's this, I've been toying around with the idea of either dividing my audience up or not. So as an example, if you're a yoga teacher, but you also offer something else like massage or Reiki or coaching or so many options that yoga teachers do, website design or something completely different, you want either to have separate lists or, and that's if they're really different, like say you clean houses and you're a yoga teacher, I would say have two separate lists because I don't think your people that you clean houses for always want to hear about your yoga news and vice versa. But if you have all yoga students, but some of them are interested in hearing about massage, but some of them are not, it's important to let them choose. So you can have little check boxes. MailChimp lets you do that. Set it up on your intake form. You'll see this on the Connected Yoga Teacher one now. I've just updated the home page where you can check off what you're interested in hearing about. Okay, Rosalind says yes, she provides some video and audio and worksheets. Good to know. So think of what emails you really enjoy getting. If you guys have an email that you get now and you love it, for sure put it in the comments, put a little link to those people. It doesn't matter what it's about, it doesn't have to be about yoga, but it's good to see what gets people excited about email and getting email. And then if you can't see something like you would like to receive, if you haven't found that email yet, then it's a great thing that you can provide for people. So I would love to hear if you guys have questions, post them now. Anything about email, I'm happy to answer while I'm here. And then I'm just going to go over a couple little closing notes. If you're watching, if you guys tuning in a little later in this video, if you go back and watch the replay, you're going to hear about the April schedule, and I give a little more detail on that. That's just about to release. For the live show, I also talk about the podcast. So just so you guys know, the podcast episodes 1 to 4 are now released. Those release every Saturday morning at 5 a.m. as long as I have done all of my technological things that I need to do. And so in episode 1, we heard from Erin Aquin, and she was talking about yoga teacher burnout, how to avoid this. Episode 2, we heard from Nina Andick, and that's actually a call where I was doing an on-air consultation call with Nina. And we came to this part where she was reconnecting with her yoga practice. Thanks a lot to Rosalind as well, because I connected them and they worked together and it worked really well. You guys are going to hear more about that in episode 6 because I gave a little update on that. Episode 3 was Margaret Howard, and she really gave us such good tools for any yoga teacher who's teaching basically any group or any private classes in terms of trauma-sensitive yoga. And then in episode 4, I did a solo episode, which was really scary for me. How to assist your yoga students without touch. But this is really a topic that I'm passionate about, so you guys get to hear about that. Episode 5 and episode 6 are ready to go. You're going to hear me being coached on setting big goals. And then in episode 6, you're going to hear, episode 5 is with my business coach, Natalie Ekdahl. And then episode 6, you're going to hear from Rosalind about teaching virtual classes. So yes, classes online. So those are all the podcasts. And I was just confirming with you guys that that is different than this live show. And I'd be curious to know, because I've thought, are people watching the live show and listening to the podcast both, so that you have two things of information? Or would you rather that I take these live show, the information, so you can hear it while you're driving in your car and have it as audio? You just can't ask live questions that way. Okay. So make sure you guys go to the Connected Yoga Teacher page and sign up for the newsletter, and then you will get the waiver forms that I was talking about earlier that are really the key to getting your yoga students signing up for your email list when they come to your classes and in person. And also you're going to get, so with every newsletter, I put together the podcasts, all the podcasts that were released, well, the podcast that week, the live show, and then all of the show notes for those. And so that has all of the links. If you're thinking, you know what, I don't want to listen to audio, I don't want video, I just want to read. I know some of you are like that. Um, you can just read the show notes and you don't have to watch the video or listen to the audio. Or you can have both. Okay, you guys, it's been great to connect and see you guys, kind of. Thanks, Sherry, Roslyn. Who else was here live? Carissa, Terry, Kathy, and it was great to see you guys. Thanks for the hearts, and I will see you next week. We're going to talk about making Facebook Live videos, and I'm going to put a little challenge out there. So anyone who's interested in starting to make Facebook Live videos, tune in. Bye.